Hello, hello. So here's a video request. Somebody Guo, and I just got it too 56 minutes ago from the Rap Metal Hero. He's done once before. Hi Kyle, how are you? I'm good, thanks. Next video request. Can you please talk about your top 5 favorite cities within Latin America? Why is that? Thank you and have a nice day. My number one would be Santiago, Chile, because it's right next to the mountains, and you can see these giant mountains there, like way above you, like 18,000-foot mountain. What's it called? I can't remember. Which you can climb to the top of. I never did, but and there's like tons of mountain biking up there. You have to know where the trails are though, because there's lots of like private land, and then the land that there are trails on, they'd like to charge you like exorbitant fees, like $10 a day. But like there are ways around it. You just go pull your bike over the gate like at 6 in the morning before they show up, and you're fine. But it's the climate. It's the same latitude as Los Angeles, and the altitude is like 1,800 feet. So it's just really mild all year round. It's kind of like t-shirt weather all year round. And only there's like skiing. There's a ski resort like 45 minutes away. There's hot springs, really nice mountain hot springs, like 45 minutes away. And I heard there's another hot springs like Wild, also up another. There's all these canyons you can go up, and really big mountains and trails all over, and it's really that's right there. And the city itself isn't a pretty city because it has one river that goes through it, but it's a nasty, stinky river that it doesn't have that much water going through it, because I guess they use it all for the water. But it doesn't have a lot of parks or trees. It's kind of like a concrete jungle type of a city, but the view, the nature around it is really cool, and it's only like an hour and a half from the sea, where you can do surfing and So if you're like an outdoors type of person, Santiago's great. So I'd have to say Santiago was the first time. I'd say that all the time to Chileans when I was there, and they would be like, "What?" Because most of the Chileans there, they don't even go in the mountains, like ever. But yeah, that would have to be mine. Now the second city, I think I would have to say is I'd have to say Rio, man. Rio is an amazing place because it's right there on the ocean, like pretty far north, pretty close to the equator, so the water's really warm, and then the waves are pretty big when they come in. They're really good size for body surfing, and the beaches are really big, and there's lots of people there and stuff. People get mugged there all the time, especially tourists, and I got ripped off too. I didn't get mugged, but like I gave a taxi guy $40 when the ride was like 15, and he didn't give me any change back. I should have reported him. He just kind of sat there pretending like he didn't hear me, and he took the really long way back there too, like deliberately got lost. So I think he changed his mind, and he was like, "Fuck it, fuck this guy. I just won't give him his change." After he jacked up the meter. But that's the kind of stuff that Brazilians do. Weird stuff, man. Like there's a lot to love about them, but they're spazzes, and it's too much for me. I'm not all about Brazil, but the city, but it has like that capoeira music, or bossa nova music, and then the capoeira that they do, and just the chilled out atmosphere that they have there is just hanging out and like drinking beer and just like not caring, just having fun. For a tourist American to experience that, not to live there, but to like experience it for a little bit, is really cool, man. It's really cool. And the city itself, it's just like really hilly. There's huge rocks everywhere, and so they have the tunnels that go through the rocks, and there's jungle. It's like the rainforest is right there, so you can do rainforest tours and stuff, and yeah, and it's misty, and it's just a magical place. It's really cool. But like you have to be really good at only focusing on the positive, because there's lots of crap there, like crime and spazzes and just manipulative people, and just you have to be good at not hanging out with the wrong people or whatever there, finding yourself in the wrong place. But yeah, it's definitely a magical place. My third favorite city in South America. Well, yeah, I think I would say it would be. Yeah, see, I'm talking favorite as if like a place where I would choose to live if I had to live in South America. I didn't go to Colombia or Venezuela or French Guiana, but I went to the other ones. I think I would say it's kind of a toss-up between Cusco and La Paz. I think I'd say Cusco because it just has that. Yeah, Cusco, man, because is the capital of the Incans, and it's like 7,000 feet, really good climate. Not too hot, not too cold, because it's pretty close to the equator, and it's high, and so it's just great. Did you say South America or Latin America? Hold on. Latin America. Oh shit. Okay, because now we have to include Mexico City. Yeah, I think I like Cusco more than Mexico City. Cusco, it's just a place that still has the Incan culture. You see the Incan people, and they're dressed in their Incan clothing, and they're happy. They're happy and cheerful, and they're welcoming, and there's the most connection to native culture that you're going to find. And, they still speak Quechua and Quiche or whatever the other one's called, and the original languages. And a lot of the natives do, like even as a first language, I think, more than Spanish. And they do their ancient Incan festivals and all that stuff, and it's pretty cool, man. And it's not too big. It's like a big city, a big town, or a small city. It's not too big, and there's lots of nature around there. There's Machu Picchu and lots of ancient Incan ruins and mountainous area, and it's I like it. Real touristy too. And the downtown area is really quaint as far as touristy. Lots of tourists and lots of Mexican restaurants along this one strip. Magical place. And so that'd be number 3. Number 4 would be I think Mexico City. I was gonna toss it between Mexico City and La Paz, but La Paz is just so freaking cold, and La Paz is an amazing place, but I'm thinking about a place to live. Yeah, I think I'd have to do Mexico City. I really liked Mexico City because it was like 7,000 feet, and so the climate it's a lot farther south than America, so the climate is really nice. It's really fresh and crispy and cool and dry, and just probably like that all year round. And it has this really long avenue that goes down from the Central Plaza to this hill that they had this castle on top of, with this really gigantic park around it. And it just has a lot of, it's a really big city, 20 million people. It's polluted, but in terms of you can't see El Popo and those big volcanoes that are 50 miles away from the city. And as you're flying in from a plane, you can see all the smog and stuff, but when you're within the city, it doesn't really feel like it's that polluted. It's not like fucking Kathmandu, with these little tuk-tuks spewing out crap in your face. It's way better in terms of air pollution than Bangkok or Jakarta, which have these little crappy things that are just spewing death in your face. it's kind of maybe along the lines of like Santiago, because Santiago's polluted too. Yeah, so, yeah, but it's just it's kind of, it's more like first world than the rest of Mexico. It's, you know, there's money there. You know, you have like, I saw, you know, like chain, just more civilization, like chain restaurants and just, you know, just it's, you know, a good infrastructure. And the people there look more European than in the rest of Mexico, which is just makes it more like cosmopolitan. And you know, Mexicans are chill people, like relaxed people. They're thieves though. Like in every single hotel I was at, maids busted in my room and just stole. It was like Hansel and Gretel. Every single hotel I stayed at, I lost more and more stuff. So if you ever stay in a hotel in Mexico or anywhere in Latin America, for example, or in Central America and Mexico for that matter, make sure that they don't get in your room to clean it. That's their excuse to steal your shit. And make sure you look everything you have before you leave, because, and they're pretty bold too. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. So how many was that? Santiago, Rio, Cuzco, Mexico City. Okay, and now number 5. Well, it would be a toss-up between Lima and La Paz. I really liked Lima. I was really impressed with Lima when I went there, because Lima was, I just really like Peruvians. I really liked Peruvians. I know Peru, a lot of people get mugged in Peru and stuff, but like I didn't have any negative experience with Peruvians, only positive experience. Peruvians were the most open-minded people in all of Latin America. They were like people into aliens. I had alien conversations with 2 people there. One guy was in the street straight up trying to pump it into people with posters and like pictures and stuff in Ica, where they found the Ica skulls. And they're like vegetarians there. They have like fruit stands there. The little kids are really outgoing and they're more native there. And Peru, the country itself, has got all kinds of different, you know, landscape. But Lima, the climate is perfect. It's just really nice. It's got this stuff called garua. It's this fog, so it looks really polluted, but it's just fog. And there's no trees in Lima because it's like in a desert. But if you go to the, it's a really big city. But if you go to the ocean, there are these cliffs that go down, and then there's these huge waves. And it's really polluted because when the waves break, you can see brown, and I think that's like feces. And I saw people surfing, but the waves were perfect for surfing. Lima is going to be the surfing city of the world as soon as they clean it up. There are these huge, like perfect curlers, and not just one, like throughout the entire length of the whole city. Like all these different ways people could be surfing, and then they were all doing the paragliding off the cliffs, and they had a bike path through this like avenue where you can ride right in the middle of the bike path from the center of town all the way to the ocean, which was like 5 miles away or something. And it was yeah, it had a cool energy to it. I liked Lima. So I guess it'd be a toss-up between Lima and La Paz. La Paz was an amazing place because it's the highest city in the world. El Alto, the high part of La Paz, because La Paz is in this valley, but it spills out over the valley on the flat part, which is called El Alto. And that along with Potosi, that's the highest cities in the world, are like 13,000 feet, 13,100 feet or something. And so it gets really cold, but it's like in this valley, and it's really steep on either side. And it's a really big city, and it, like two valleys that meet each other, and it goes up both of them, and you know, up a really, really steep, and you know, it's surrounded by all these big mountains, and then you go over one mountain range and you can dip way down into the jungle, like 20 miles away. You can dip all the way down to 1,800 feet, so you're basically in the jungle. Or you go the other way, and 60 miles away, you know, like an hour drive away, there's Lake Titicaca and different mountain ranges. And so if you're an outdoors person, La Paz would be great. But if I had to choose between La Paz and Lima, I think I'd have to choose Lima. I think Lima would have to be number 5 instead of La Paz, because La Paz is just kind of difficult to live. It's way too crowded. Like, you can barely move around in the streets. People have got their, selling their stuff, their wares, way too many different places, and the energy is not so good there. People are really uptight. A lot of people aren't happy. It's just, and it's cold, and then there's, yeah, it's more poor, and yeah. I'd have to go to Fort Lima as number 5. And the other big city in Latin America is Buenos Aires. But I don't really like Argentinians. They're kind of like, well, see, I was in Argentina in 2001 for their crash, right before their crash. And so they were all freaking out and stressed out, but they just snappy. They like get angry quickly, and they're like, they're all like dressed up like really nicely, and it kind of looks like they're just like that, like they put too much value on that, and they're all judging each other and worried about what people think about them, and yelling, and the city itself doesn't have anything. There's no big river that goes through it. It's on the side of this river that's kind of like the ocean, as the river goes into the ocean, but you can't see it. You have to ride your bike way out some path just to see the river, and there's no beach. It's just the rocks, and they have just all, it's like they built it back up to the sea. They have all these like shipping yards instead of any like place where you can see the sea. So it's like there's nothing. It has no mountains, it has no river, it has no sea, it has nothing. It's just this flat, no hills. It's just this flat city with these different avenues and big buildings. The architecture is similar to Paris, so it's, I guess, a little bit more interesting architecture than other places like Santiago. But I would not want to live. Oh, well, physically, I can't live in Argentina. Like, I almost died of asthma there. There's some kind of weird plant there that shuts my lungs down, and I can't breathe. Like, within a day, I'm just like the whole time. So yeah, Buenos Aires is off the list, and La Paz didn't quite make the list. But yeah, those are my top 5. Peace out.